Today, a new report says that AOC apparently was not inside the Capitol building during the Capitol riots, which kind of is a little bit weird. It doesn't jive with her story. We'll get into that. Also, the Pentagon orders a military-wide stand down to address white supremacy. Yes, we've got a lot coming up today, and it starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I'm Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by Jaco Booyens, host of the Jaco Booyens Show.
Good to be here.
Yes, thank you for being here. Also, Pat Gray, host of Pat Gray Unleashed, that you can see here on BlazeTV, who I'm sure is really pumped to talk some more because he's just talked for like 5 hours already today.
That's not nearly enough, though.
I figured you just wanted more. Yeah. We're giving you what you want anyway, which is more Pat Gray, but he doesn't want you. No, I just want you to know that.
Definitely do. I definitely do.
All right, we've got a lot to get into, including, this is one of my favorites today. AOC, of course. We talked about, what was it, Tuesday when you were on the program.
Yeah, she had a rant.
Yes, she was just come under scrutiny because she had this long Instagram Live video where she talked about how scared she was and the
abuse, and this is abuse.
Yes,
and the predators were coming for her.
Yeah, yes, tactics. I mean, she cried. It was all very, very convincing. And now I will say, she did not specifically say I was in the Capitol building, but I mean, connect the dots, and she was saying they were coming for me. I thought,
I'm not going to let this happen again. They're not going to come for me again. My abusers, which would mean she's insinuating she was there, right?
Yeah, I mean, a reasonable person would make that correlation, but not the case. So Representative Nancy Mace actually tweeted out first. So this is how this kind of broke down. Nancy Mace tweeted out, AOC made clear she didn't know who was at her door. Breathless attempts by media to fan fictitious news flames are dangerous. My office is 2 doors down. Insurrectionists never stormed our hallway. Egregious doesn't even begin to cover it. Is there nothing MSM won't politicize? And of course, AOC, never knowing when to shut her mouth and just stop talking, decided to weigh in on everything because Jack Posobiec, of course, got a hold of the story, and it was what was it that was trending? Alexandria AOC lied, and Alexandria Smollett, I think, were two of my favorites. I like
the Smollett.
Yes.
I like that.
Alexandria Smollett.
That's beautiful.
Yes. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Twitter. This is the latest manipulative take on the right. They are manipulating the fact that most people don't know the layout of the Capitol complex. We were all on the Capitol complex. The attack wasn't just on the dome. The bombs Trump supporters planted surrounded our offices too. Now, she goes on, people were trying to rush and infiltrate our office buildings. That's why we had to get evacuated in the first place. The attempts of attackers and publicly available communications show how they tried to gain access and share location info on finding members for physical harm. It's also very damning and revealing that the GOP is now digging both heels in a discrediting campaign. It's because they know they are implicated, so they're pivoting to the classic abuse playbook of, it's not as bad as they say. It was that bad. It's actually worse. You got to give it to her. The balls that this girl has to go out there and spout this when she was just caught. Okay, if you want to say maybe it wasn't a technical lie, but I think it was kind of a lie of omission, which is still, to me, if you're trying to portray the idea that you were in the Capitol building, now all of a sudden it's the Capitol complex.
It's a bald-faced lie.
Yes.
Let's just call it what it is.
Thank you.
She lied. She made it sound like she was in the Capitol building. She wasn't. She was on the complex, but, thousands of people were on the complex, and their buildings weren't rushed.
Right.
They rushed the Capitol building, and she's trying to play that. She's the one manipulating. And then she accuses the GOP of doing that.
Yeah.
She is so despicable.
It's gaslighting at absurd levels at this point, Jaco.
Thank you. Flat out lie. Yeah. And it's a me movement by this one. She'll grasp anything and go, how do I get attention? How do I get myself ahead? And then tying it to an abuse, alleged abuse, etc., and go all dramatic about it. For those of you who don't know, that Capitol complex she's talking about is massive. If you want to include,
if you're including the complex,
you want to include the Senate building. Just walkways and halls underground where you walk a quarter mile across under streets to get there. So sure, the complex. Next, she's going to say, well, it was in my city. It was in my city, and they're coming for me. It's the AOC syndrome complex that we talked about, and again, a girl that's desperate for attention, that is very insecure. Actually, yes, she's got some guts to throw down. Maybe she's just that stupid.
That may be the case. I mean, that may be the case. But her and Nancy Pelosi, while I loathe both of them, I think that AOC is, I wouldn't call her smart, but I would call her conniving. But I think that they both are very good at shifting the narrative, shifting the communications, not backing down. Because I read this and go, what a dummy. Yeah. I mean, she's really genuinely trying to accuse people of exactly what she herself is doing. But so many people are going to listen to her and go,
always project.
They do. And it works because the media runs cover for them, Pat.
Yeah, it's, I don't know why we pay such attention to her. She's loud. She's a loudmouth and she's an attention seeker. And she gets the attention she craves so much.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we have to pay attention to her. Right. And I really wish we'd stop, because we don't pay any attention to the extreme right-wingers that are continually making noise. Why do we have to pay attention to her?
Yeah, that's a great point. She also is the one who came out and said that under the Biden administration, they were talking about having a media disinformation commission where they make sure that they shut down any media who is purporting disinformation. She is the queen of disinformation. I can't see anything bad possibly happening there.
Yeah, well, this is also just a copybook example of somebody who's so deep in the lie they believe it. She's all in. Yeah. So I don't know if it's ballsy, actually. She's just that deceived. She's just that far along that she believes whatever she feeds the American people, they're going to buy and they're going to eat. And I'm with Pat. We've in a way made her a star by giving her attention. The far right, the crazies, and don't pay them attention. How often do we say, hey, a bomber wants attention, a mass shooter wants attention, starve them of the attention. Tell all those other crazies out there, the Ilhan Omars, the underlings, tell them, you behave like this, we're just going to walk right by you as if you don't matter, because actually she doesn't.
This is a woman who didn't even know what a garbage disposal was. I mean, she remember the tweet that she did last, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so, when she was like, I found something in my sink that chops stuff up.
It's a critter. There's a critter down there.
I don't know. They've only been around since 1954. Wow. It might have slipped past your attention a little bit there.
It may have. All right, let's get to other headlines of the day. The Pentagon has ordered all branches of the military to enact a, quote, stand down within the next 60 days. This is maddening, so that they can address supposed internal threats posed by, of course, white supremacy and other forms of extremism. They say they're still uncertain how to grapple with the problem of extremism in its ranks, and they just need the 60 days to just focus on the very big issue. By the way, they haven't, there's no actual threat that they've uncovered. They've already said there's no specific threat. It's just, if someone is white and also a conservative, probably they need to be looked into. They're probably very dangerous, Pat.
This is one of my pet peeves, because how many white supremacists do you know?
0.
And how many do you?
0.
None of us know any, because they're rare. Yes. They barely exist. They're barely a blip on the radar screen. It's another example of people giving attention to a group of people who doesn't deserve any. Nobody pays attention to them. They're like the Black Panthers. Black Panthers have been around for a really long time. And when we've made mention of some of the things they said, like the guy who was screaming that you got to kill some crackers and you got to kill some a day babies, when we made mention of that, the left-wing media was all, well, come on, there's so few of those. They're scarce. You're going to be afraid of that. There's 7? I think there's 4 white supremacists. And They have
I think
blown.
they genuinely were like 9 that showed up at that next
Right.
white supremacy.
Yeah.
Right.
And if we meet them, we denounce them immediately because it's in
Immediately.
our nature. We don't
Yes.
hang with those people. They're not
Right.
my people. They're not our people.
Yeah.
Right? But again, they can't function without a race conversation. The left historically in this country, and I come from another country, South Africa, that's had some serious transitions. They have to, look, Sarah, if they're going to run an audit in kindergarten to see if there's race in kindergarten, sure they're going to run an audit in all the military branches to perpetuate this conversation because maybe the NFL didn't do enough for them or the NBA didn't do enough for them. And so now all of a sudden we're targeting the men and women who are laying their lives down. By the way, when you sign up and you volunteer, last time I checked, they don't ask you your skin color, it's just thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank you for defending Americans. They don't stand in that foxhole in Fallujah and Iraq and go, can I get all the white guys here with me because I trust them more? No, it's all my brothers who trained with me. Let's go storm the hill. It's insanity. But they want to run this as long as possible because it's part of their DNA. Race tension, they fabricate, they teach because they need it.
I mean, to Yaku's point, we were just talking about AOC. She is one of the biggest perpetuators of the myth that there is some big bad white supremacy organization that's going to take out everyone who is not white and proud to be white. And, really, you look at it and you're like, we know that's not happening.
Right.
But, I mean, with the media running cover for her and other people who are perpetuating this white supremacy lie, how many people do you think are fooled by it?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, the American people have been fooled by a lot of things lately, including Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and elected them president.
I mean, I can't imagine I can't imagine any white person going, yeah, these people have basically demonized every part of me. I'm definitely going to vote for them.
Right. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. And while they pay attention to the right wing and their fear of white supremacists, they're completely ignoring Antifa and Black Lives Matter and people who've actually taken over portions of U.S. cities
And burned them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's agonizing.
It's incredible. Last word.
And look at all. It's all tethered. It's all connected. If you see border policy that's coming, I'm actually sadly I'm not surprised because to your point, Pat, we have believed the fib, the lie, as a nation for so long that okay, maybe we can convince Gen Zers to apologize for being white, and you're seeing some young white Caucasian males doing that.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. But they know it works. That AOC knows it works.
Right.
So why stop?
Right. And by the way, for those of you who were wondering, service members are, just to get this out there, they are already, they're vetted. They're not just going to be like, hey, great to have you on board, not going to do any sort of background checks on you. Right. I mean, you can imagine this is the federal government, looking into you. They have all of these background checks at their disposal. They're not just bringing on a bunch of people. They will let people through the border without vetting them. They won't let people protect
or
them who have not, who have not been vetted. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw, but whenever they were going through the National Guard and they said, we've got to vet these people because they're protecting us and they may have, loyalties to other organizations, extremist organizations. Turning Point USA, one of the organizations that they had on their list to cross-reference, to look for white supremacists and extremists, not making this up. Turning Point USA.
Yep.
Just wanted to get that out there. All right, we've got much more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, ExpressVPN. Big tech, social media, they are just basically bulldozing over all of our rights and our freedoms now until they have silenced all of us. None of us are going to be left. They are not going to stop until that happens. I don't know. It doesn't even matter if you're bold enough to stand in their way. You could just deactivate all of your social media accounts, but that would be giving the left just what they wanted in the first place. So instead of letting big tech sites revoke your right to free speech, why not just revoke their right to your data, which, by the way, they have right now. You're going in all of those terms and conditions for the services, and you're checking, yes, I accept all of these things. Yeah, they have access to all of your data. That's how they make their money. It's by tracking your searches, video history, and everything that you click on, and then they can sell all of your data. That's your data, and they're selling it and making money off of it. When you use ExpressVPN, you anonymize a lot of your online presence by hiding your IP address, so it's going to be way more difficult for them to trace and sell to advertisers. By the way, ExpressVPN is going to encrypt 100% of your data to protect you from eavesdroppers on your network, and it's really, really easy to use. You set the app up, you can tap a button on your phone or computer, and you are protected, and it doesn't make all of your other systems lag. I know there are some programs that you're like, oh, now my computer's going really slow. That doesn't happen with ExpressVPN, all right? So you can go to expressvpn.com/Y. If you go there, you will get 3 extra months of ExpressVPN service for free when you sign up. That is expressvpn.com/Y, expressvpn.com/Y. Go there now. All right, before we get into CNBC airing some very shocking footage of Florida residents walking around without masks. I know, can you believe it?
I can.
If you had pearls, would you clutch them?
The audacity.
Yes.
I know.
Clutch the pearls back.
we were just talking about ExpressVPN with Big Tech, and Igaku, I know we've had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
We've talked about free space on the program. Everyone's like, where can I find it? I haven't found it. Tell them.
They don't have to have a shovel to go look for it now. Just go to the App Store, Android, iOS. It's available. Go after the show.
Free space.
After the show, free space. And again, your voice matters. It's free space. You're not going to be marginalized. You're not going to be turned off. And the whole platform is a VPN.
Yeah, that's
They
great.
can't track you. They can't trace you. We own the servers. Incredible features. And it's based on a value reinforcement system where we want to get America back to work, Sarah. And we want people to go build again and create communities and be who you are without someone else turning you off or not liking you.
Yeah.
So
That's
go now.
great. So it's like competition for Twitter.
Competition
for Facebook,
For
and
Facebook
Twitter
and
in
Twitter.
it and TikTok in it.
Great.
It's got end-to-end chat encryption.
Yeah.
Because it
it's
looks
all
like
of them.
Parler's dead.
Yeah.
It looks like Parler's not coming back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Parler's
don't think
not.
they-
And so
They might be down for the count.
Yeah.
we'll show it to you after, but Sarah has it. Sarah's
It's
on.
amazing.
So go get
Good.
on, and I think you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Yeah.
Yes, free space. So make sure that you go check that out in your app store, iOS, Android, whichever you have. So CNBC host Shep Smith, which remember when he was at Fox? You remember way back when he was at Fox, and now he's at CNBC and like a completely different person. So he was, just shocked beyond belief to see there was footage that they had inside a supermarket in Naples, Florida. And I just can't believe it. The employees, customers, people were not wearing masks. Watch.
We all fantasize about a time when we won't have to wear the masks anymore. It's not now. But some at a supermarket in Florida appear to have decided that the time is now. Look at this. This was the scene at Oaks Farm Seed and to Table Market in Naples today.
No.
NBC Sam Brock took this video, which went viral. It looks like it was taken pre-pandemic, right? Most customers and employees not wearing masks at all. The store's policy includes mask exemption guidelines. The sign says if you have a medical condition that you don't have to wear a mask, and nobody inside will ask about medical conditions, so masks are not enforced. The owner told Sam Brock this when questioned about the policy.
Is your position then about medical exemptions, or is it about the fact that you don't think masks work and that the virus is not a real thing?
I know that the masks don't work, and I know that the virus has not killed 400,000 people in this country. That's total hogwash.
Florida does not
wow.
have a mask mandate, but masks do work. The science is crystal clear.
No.
Crystal
In
clear.
July, the
What
CDC
science?
director said the United States could get COVID under control in 4 to 8 weeks
Oh,
if
really?
we would only all wear masks.
Oh, please.
Oh my gosh, where to even begin to unpack this? There's a lot there.
Wow.
Primarily, science is crystal clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
crystal clear that it doesn't do much, if anything at all.
If you're looking at the actual data, yes,
Right.
it is crystal clear.
There was a Dutch study that was recently done, and they found a I think it was 0.03 difference between those wearing a mask and not wearing a mask as far as
Wow.
whether or not you get the infection.
But
it might have been as high as
0.03.
0.3, but it wasn't above 1. So the difference is minuscule. that it makes. And there have been other studies. It depends on who funds the study.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
But Shep Smith does that kind of stuff all the time. Pretending like he's the expert and the know-it-all on virtually whatever issue he's discussing. And so he'll throw things out like that. Like, oh, they do work, and it's clear.
It's not just him, though. I mean, we're talking about We're talking about this media disinformation commission that they're talking about forming in the Biden administration, and it's like you're going to have mainstream media people like Shep Smith going out and reporting to the American people as if it is fact. The science is crystal clear on this, and it couldn't be farther from the truth.
Absolutely. Actually, the opposite is true, what Pat was just saying. You're looking at Florida. Look at Florida's numbers. Florida's looking pretty good COVID-related, really good, okay? And I told you before, it's Super Bowl week, go throw block parties. I mean, don't wear the mask. Get sanity back. You know, I'm not a mask guy. And by the way, Pat, let's just hypothetically say you have not had COVID. I don't know if you have or haven't. I have, okay? And every flu I've ever had was worse, by the way, okay? But now I have the antibodies. So if you wear your mask, Pat, you should be comfortable.
Right.
You shouldn't worry about me and my mask.
Right.
Don't take your mask off, Pat.
Right.
And as long as if it works.
Right, if it works.
If the science works, then wear your mask, dude, and don't worry about your neighbor.
And by the way, people would say...
Unless you don't believe the mask works.
Right.
Because it can't be both.
Well,
Sarah.
people would say, because I have heard this argument that, well, no, they said that the mask is to protect other people, not to protect you. Well, actually, the CDC did come out and say, well, okay, it's actually both. Yeah. It's to protect you and it's to protect other people. I mean, they couldn't be making it more clear that they're just like making stuff up as they go along, whatever sounds good at the time.
There was a doctor, I think just last week, that said wearing a mask is like it protects you as much as throwing sand through a chain link fence.
Yes,
That's right.
I saw that.
Because the particles, I mean, that's science, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
that is science.
Yes.
These are not N90, and even the N95 isn't.
It's not foolproof.
Foolproof, right? And these are not. I mean, dude, yesterday, we've joked before, his grandma could have crocheted his mask together. I mean, I could have put golf balls through that thing, but he's got, there's a covering, it's working. This ulterior belief system that you know, we're, how stupid are we, you know, as Americans? We can't, come on, you want real science, let the real science speak. But nobody asked this question. Of the people in that supermarket, now, who has had COVID? Who's got the antibody? No conversation. You've had COVID, you have the antibody, wear a mask. Wear 5 masks. Wear 5 masks and a ghillie suit so you can camouflage yourself, and come on, and a helmet, oxygen tank.
Right. Well, which, by the way, you know, they did have the conversation with the owner of that store about medical exemptions and how he said, look, if you're not wearing a mask, we're just going to assume that you have a medical reason to not wear a mask, and we're not going to ask you about it. This is a real problem that's happening, is that people are genuinely being discriminated against for medical, you know, whether or not they have a medical reason from an MD or a psychiatrist or whatever the case may be. The media is taking this narrative that you can't possibly have any sort of medical exemption. You can't possibly have a medical reason not to wear a mask, and running with it. And there are companies all over the place, even in Texas, that will they barrel right over it. I had one lady ask, well, do you have your papers for your medical exemption?
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, my papers? Do you realize, like, I could sue?
Oh man.
Right now, you're not allowed to ask that. No. And yet they just barrel right through it.
I just want us to get back to work, meaning this. I can't even get my driver's license updated in the state of Texas because they just closed. They just shut down some of the DMVs in the area I live, but I got to make sure I wear a mask.
Right.
I was supposed to renew mine in November with my birthday, and they sent me a letter that said, you don't need to because we're not doing
Drive
that
illegal.
right now. Yeah.
Drive illegal.
I need to check on mine because mine just expired too.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do it right now.
No, you don't have to.
You just don't have to do it.
Awesome. Okay.
That's not important, Sarah.
They'll get back to you when you have to do it, but that time is not now.
Wow.
And isn't it amazing when they go into a grocery store in Florida and they're aghast that there are people? Well, don't go in there then.
Exactly.
Don't go. It's America. Don't go in there.
If you think you're going to die when you leave your house, don't leave your house.
Don't go.
Yeah. That's really the kicker here. If you are that scared,
don't go.
Stay inside.
Right.
For the rest of your life, if you'd like to, because as Pat said, it's America. You get to make that decision for yourself. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Built Bar. If you have not heard me talk about the Built Bar, you've got Built Bar too.
I do, yeah, delicious flavors.
I'm a fan.
I just got the orange and the raspberry and the mint brownie. So good.
I know.
So good.
The orange, there's something about chocolate orange.
I love it.
Oh,
It
you
works.
know they used to make those chocolate oranges, and I loved it. This is even better than that. And so Built Bar, for those of you who haven't heard, it is, if you have a favorite protein bar that you eat, this is going to be healthier than your favorite protein bar, and it doesn't taste like chalk. All right, so that's an added bonus. They're actually delicious. They're low calorie, low sugar. They're great for keto diets. So if you have a New Year's resolution maybe to lose some weight, you can do that with Built Bar, and it's also going to help you with your cravings, because when you crave something really sweet and delicious, you can eat this and know that it's not like a candy bar that's going to have, a million calories, and you're never going to get it off of your hips. Yaku, you tried it as well.
I tell you gave me 2 bars. I took one home, and the cookie, what was the?
It was salted caramel.
Salted caramel, I
and then
love.
the cookie dough.
The cookie dough,
Yeah.
well, my wife
Really good.
fought me for the cookie dough.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I know.
That one disappeared pretty quickly.
Yeah, my
but,
son
but
loves
what I
those
loved
too.
most about it was the low sugar count.
Yeah.
Because it's real chocolate.
Yes.
And it honestly surprised me.
Yeah, you
Because I
don't expect
expected
it.
30 grams of sugar. Because most of your fitness bars,
Yep.
Yeah.
I won't mention some, it's 30 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
Down a Coca-Cola for
Yeah,
that matter, right?
yeah.
This is not.
Yeah.
I mean, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's amazing. Those of you who have followed me for a while, I'm very into health and nutrition. I did the weight loss struggle for a very long time, and I'm telling you, this is the bar that you need in your life. You got to go to builtbar.com. Use promo code NEWS20 to get 20% off of your next order. That is NEWS20 at BUILTbar.com. Back in a minute. Now, before we get into something else, I do want to go back to this story about the supermarket in Naples, Florida, because there's another part of it that I want to get your thoughts on, gentlemen. So there is a doctor who is very prominent on Twitter, and I realize Twitter isn't real life, but these people are real life people. This is an actual doctor. His screen name is Clevon MD. And he retweeted this video of these people at the grocery store with no masks on. And he said, "Naples, Florida, let them die. I'm so tired of these people. No vaccines for y'all." Again, this is a medical doctor who is saying this. He said, just as active alcoholics with terminal liver disease are refused liver transplants, people who don't follow preventative public health measures against COVID-19 should be the last to get hospital beds. Yeah, so, I mean, again, this is how they grab a hold of the messaging and they twist it to be what they want it to be. And then, if you don't follow the truth, which I think should be capitalized when we're talking about any sort of information that comes from the government, because it's like it's their truth, it is the truth. And if you disregard it, if you question it, any of that, then you should be just kind of excommunicated from society, I guess.
When I ask the doctors, who says we want your vaccine? Who says they want your vaccine?
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure
that's
that's
not monitored.
Yeah.
It's not approved by any authority.
Yeah.
No FDA approval. So we should just trust your vaccine. What's in it? Let them die? Okay. Let's see what he sings when he needs some treatment, and maybe his profile is not the same as the doctor that needs to treat him. Maybe the doctor needs to say, oops, sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
you didn't vote the way I voted, so let this one go right by.
I hope this guy has never eaten at
Should
McDonald's.
lose his license. That's that you should lose your license for that as a doctor.
What happened to the Hippocratic
You swear an
oath?
oath. You swear an oath.
Yeah.
No, forget about the oath.
Yeah.
Come on. Right? Yeah. Should die.
Really, an emergency room physician who, again, I hope he's never eaten a cheeseburger in his life, never gone to McDonald's, never done any of that, because if so, he probably should not, be treated if he ever has any heart problems, any cholesterol problems. Maybe his physician should not prescribe him any sort of cholesterol medication if he does have high cholesterol, because, if he's eating bad foods, then he doesn't deserve it.
And, the vaccine is a bad thing to threaten people with, because most of us don't want it to begin with. I think
thanks.
we did a quick Twitter poll the other day, and I think it was 73% don't plan on getting the vaccine.
Wow.
73% of my audience says, I'm not interested. First of all, there's, a lot of people think the virus itself is overblown, so that they don't want to participate in that. But secondly, now that they're hearing about all of the side effects and in some cases the deaths and the severe allergic reactions, it's making people a little skittish about taking it when they weren't that convinced in the first place.
Yeah.
So keep your vaccine.
You know what's interesting? I've tried to be very vocal about the adverse reactions to the vaccine because I think that people should have informed consent. I think that people should have choice in the matter and know what they're getting. They're not usually going to get it from the doctor that they're going to get the shot from. And so I put on Facebook, on my personal Facebook, just statistics from the vaccine adverse event reporting system that the CDC runs. And I put it out there and it showed there were deaths. I mean, there were all sorts of things from this particular vaccine. And I had someone who said, well, I said, look, I just want to provide informed consent. Well, normally I would agree with you, but if people get vaccinated, even those people who have bad reactions still won't be able to spread the virus. And I'm like,
well,
yeah, I mean, the ones who are dead certainly won't be able to spread
you
COVID.
Did not spread COVID. Right. Maybe that lines up with this doctor. Let them die. Look, this is America. Give me the information, and I'll decide for myself. Thank you very much. Okay, and if you want the vaccine, I'm not going to defriend you. Take it.
Yes.
But you're not going to come tell me how to run my life and my kids and taking a vaccine. I want to get back to that doctor for 1 second.
Yeah.
If you're watching this and that's your doctor, you should be really concerned. Because what else is he profiling and what else is the medical profession doing? Not supposed to be profiling who you are, looking at your Twitter feed, how you voted.
He's an emergency room physician, I will just say. So that's got to be a very snap judgment that he makes on everyone that comes into his.
Yeah, so now you force me now, Doc, to question whether you have sound judgment in the heat of the moment, which then I think, makes a case for me to go, maybe you shouldn't be in the emergency room. Yeah? This is the kind of stuff, but this just flies to the left. That's fine. Let them die. Oh, yeah, die from anything, but do not spread COVID.
Right. It's so bizarre. So going back to this mask conversation just for a minute, Pat, I try to tell people, look, just go to the grocery store next time you go. Don't wear the freaking mask if you don't want to. And if you have management come over and tell you to put it on, then put it on. I'm not telling you to pick a fight with a private business. Yeah. But oftentimes, nobody freaking cares. And everyone is so worried about the sign on the door that nobody wants to do anything. But I worry that this isn't going to stop until enough people stop complying. What are your thoughts?
A lot of people have said it's not going to stop. A lot of the experts claim that the vaccine, it's been amazing to watch the evolution of this because at first we're going to flatten the curve.
Right.
Then the curve completely went away. And now we're not going to flatten the curve. We're going to completely get rid of the virus. And it's got to go away almost completely, I guess. And even then we might not get back to normal. Then they said, okay, well, when a vaccine comes, then you'll be able to get back to normal life. Now the vaccine is here, and now they're saying, nope, you got to also wear the mask with the vaccine. When does it all end? Well, people are just fed up.
Yeah.
We're fed up now.
But it ends when we say so.
Yeah.
That's when it ends.
Yeah.
It ends when the majority, not DC, when we say so. And here you have an owner of a store that said, we're done. Come to my store, come be a normal human being. Okay? And if you're that fragile, and some people are, right? Then you're the ones we actually should have protected from the get-go.
Yes.
The rest of us, let's go build an economy. Let's identify those that are COPD cases for a long time, those who are on heart medicine, and throw all these trillions of dollars of resources to the most vulnerable, and let the rest of us actually, let the human immune system just take over.
Yeah.
Right? Because it actually works really, really well.
Yeah. By the way, Governor Abbott, maybe you should be paying attention to Ron DeSantis and how he's running things. Because I thought this was Texas.
Yep.
But I guess it's not right now. All right. We have got more to come. Stay tuned. Back in a minute.
I don't like the Longhorn State being beat by the Orange State.
Oh,
come on.
kills me.
Not right.
Tom Brady, the Super Bowl is coming up. So let's talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady he is under fire right now from a USA Today sports columnist who says that he has eluded criticism over his support for Donald Trump because of, quote, white privilege. This piece was headlined, Tom Brady has gotten an undeserved pass for his past support of Donald Trump, and he shouldn't get a pass just because he's a star. And so she said, how mighty white of him. Brady's ability to enter and exit the debate at his choosing to shield himself from accountability is the height of white privilege. As this country grapples with the far reaches of systemic racism, look no further than Brady, for whom the expectations and allowances granted will always be different. And of course, you know, he had a Make America Great Again hat in his locker when he played for the Patriots. And he had the audacity to call Trump his friend. He called him his friend.
What are we supposed to do to Tom Brady because he supports Donald Trump? What should happen to him? Should he be drummed out of the league? Should he be put in prison? Should we hang him?
Gitmo.
What in the hell do these... They are so out of control now. And is that okay to write about a person? If you wrote that about Deshaun Watson and his support for Joe Biden.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
They would ostracize.
And let's for a second, Joe Biden and his history of racist remarks.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Which
Come on.
he actually has a history of racist remarks.
Yes, there's not a single racist remark. Well, here's what I want to say. This is a white privilege.
Yeah.
You do understand this is the quarterback in the NFL with the worst combined stats, ever in history. No privilege, worked his butt off. 6 Super Bowl rings do not come by privilege. You earn them. And why did you go ask, let's say, every black player who's ever played with him, including Antonio Mr. Trouble Brown, if this guy has a racist bone in his body? And the guys are going to tell you, he helped make my life. For being the leader he is and who he is. He earned every bit of it against not even having the pure talent. That's the biggest load of crap maybe I've heard this month. Whoever wrote this, I don't know who wrote this. We should go after that person. And you make such a good point. What's the punishment exactly? Because I thought it's called an election, Pat, which means I have a choice. Oh, no, you don't have a choice. Be careful how you choose, because if you choose this camp, we're just going to name you a racist and a bigot and a homophobe and who knows what else.
Well, and by the way, I think when this actually happened, President Trump was the president at the time, right? It wasn't, I don't think it was during the election. It was after when he was president. So now you're saying you're not allowed to support a president who is in office right at that particular moment because other people may not like it. I mean, that's setting a crazy precedent.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. If we're going to play that game now, let's play with everybody.
Yes.
Let's play with everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, let's start right there.
Right.
Let's go right there.
Do you support her?
Yeah. No, you remember Kamala threw her own skin pigment in prison for smoking a little wee-wee, but she's the one who is high as a kite half the time, right?
Yes.
Can we just, Pat, I say this, just lay the rules down and let's play. Right? No, there's rules for you, because you're white, but there's no rules. Come on, this is the biggest joke under the sun.
There are no rules. How many NFL football players, NBA basketball players, all supported Barack Obama, all supported Joe Biden all through this campaign, but you can't support Donald Trump as an American? Unbelievable.
And by the way, she said, okay, well, you're allowed to have your private views. All right, that's fine. But it was Brady himself who chose to make those private views public. If you think that MAGA hat just happened to wind up in his locker at camera level, not buried at the bottom beneath a pile of cleats and clothes, I have a case of TB12 supplements to sell you. And so it was all part of his master plan to just place the MAGA hat right at eye level for everyone to see, because apparently this woman now knows how he organizes his locker.
Yeah. And so what? Even if he did?
Yeah.
He had the right to put the hat on his head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What kind of punishment should be enforced on him?
I mean, they want you. They want you out of society.
They do.
They want everyone who's ever supported Donald Trump out of society. You know why? Because they live in echo chambers where they don't realize that 50% of the country nearly actually was fine with it.
Right.
And that's what gets me. It's like even
50.
Kayleigh McEnany.
Yeah.
I mean, the former press secretary for Donald Trump. I had the audacity to wish her well in a tweet that she wrote, and there were so many people, right?
How
and there were
dare you.
so many people who said, "Oh yeah, you're wishing her well in her next endeavor. She's not going to have another endeavor. No one's going to hire her. She worked for Trump." And I'm like, "Do you realize?"
Because she's intelligent. That's why.
But not
because
only
any
that.
Fortune 500 company would fall over themselves. And Brady is going to be just fine.
Well, but I mean, it's not only that, but I'm like, you do realize that, like, there's nearly half the population. Some might argue more. Now, I like to stay on YouTube so you guys can watch this video. I would like to not get my video removed. So I would just say some would like to argue there may be more than 50% who were totally fine with Donald Trump and thought that he did a great job. I think she's going to end up okay. Yet they think somehow that no one voted for Donald Trump. Surely no one who was associated with him should be able to live in polite society.
Yeah, or earn a living. Look what they did to this country singer. Morgan, is it Wellen?
Yeah, I think it's Wellen.
Something like that. I'm not familiar with him.
Wellen.
But his record company has canceled his contract. I don't even know if you can do that for saying a bad word. I don't see how that's legal.
Which, by the way, Pat does not condone.
No, I don't.
None of us.
No,
However,
right.
None of us.
Right.
However, he said a word.
Right.
You know, and now he can't be on Cumulus radio stations. He can't be on iHeartRadio, formerly Clear Channel. He can't be on Spotify. He can't be on iTunes, although they're selling his music still because you get their 30% cut.
Oh, nice.
And so 21 of the top 40 songs are now his. So hopefully he's going to make a living anyway. But they've taken away his ability to be heard by the masses on the radio. It's crazy.
Look,
it's crazy.
I'll say it. No tinfoil hat. There's a genocide happening without literally killing people. It's just work them out. You said they don't want you here. They don't. This is New World Order. We want 500 million people on the planet nonsense. And that's not conspiracy. They would, if they had their way, as the doctor said, let them die. You know, because somehow they're better. Somehow they know better. Somehow they want to tell you how to live, eat, breathe. And we just say no.
And they hate us enough to want us dead. They really do. I mean, that's pretty clear by now, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. And by the way, for those of you who think that maybe someone shouldn't be able to redeem themselves, just wait, because that kind of karma is going to come back to hit you at some point. All right. We got to take a break. Back in a minute.
Yeah, you can't be forgiven. He said he's already apologized.
Right. I know. That's not allowed now.
No. Sorry.
Hey, don't forget, if you have not yet gone on to wherever you get your podcasts, your audio podcasts. So I know some of you guys are so cute on YouTube. You're like sending your reviews on a YouTube comment. You're like, 5 stars. We really love you guys. That's not what I appreciate it. And that's very kind of you. But we actually, wherever you get your audio podcast is where we need you to go. Look up the news and why it matters and subscribe, rate, and review. You may see your review read on air. We've got one from AZ Bomo. Awesome program. Have been watching your shorts for over a year on The Blaze. Love your variety of guests and viewpoints. Love the fact that you and them don't really, can we say this word? Don't really pussyfooting around on issues and yet are almost always on point. Congratulations on your new addition to your family. Glad that you're back. Keep up the great work and never lose your sense of humor, Bob. Well, we're not going to lose our sense of humor here at The Blaze because that's all we have left. Because you got to laugh so you don't cry. That's what we think. One more real quick from Z. Regular TV has been going on a downward spiral for a long time now. At this point, I don't feel I can watch anything past 2008. Sad but true. Your show makes me laugh, but most importantly, lets me know I'm not alone in how I am feeling in these challenging times ahead. You're not alone. We're just as frustrated as you. And we have to live in this world. So, I mean...
5 stars everywhere. Give Pat 5 stars, 5 stars to the network. Give 5 stars on YouTube and on podcast. Heck, send it to Facebook. Tell Facebook 5 stars. 5 stars.